I want to ask a simple question. Farida,
Yes.
yeah, it's like you're in church. Do you know the difference between and or in GIS?
Yes.
So you have idea when I say and or. So can you give me a real life example? Like, can you explain to me? You may be using an attribute to tell me about and or when making a query. Remember, standard query language or structured query language. So remember the last time we say we're using select from where, and then we talked about different other things. Though we have not gone into geoprocessing where we need to make query, but I want to ask a question. Do you know how to use or and in making query? So can you explain to me a bit?
No.
Okay. Okay, so what it means is that when you're talking or, you are referring to any of the statement to be true. But when you're talking and, it means that both statements have to be true. So that's what it means. So when you're making such statements, if you have put and, so it means that I'm trying to say that both statements I'm going to say should be true. But when I'm saying or, it means that any of the statement can be true. So what I mean in this is the aspect of query. Now, if I say that I'm looking for a building, for example, like we said to query a building is to use this kind of query. And I've explained to you a bit what wizard means. And when you want to make wizard bigger, you don't need to use query, so you need to leave wizard and then come here and go ahead to type. Yeah, go ahead.
So are you presenting? Because we are not seeing your screen. We are just hearing you.
Oh, in my mind, I'm presenting in my imagination. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So I believe you can see my screen now. Okay. So this is Rwanda, as you can see, and then this particular what I'm telling you now, we are going to be using that when we'll be working a bit of database, and then when we're also going to be working on GIS in terms of geospatial processing, and then but how do we, like I told you, that OSM is a database, so we need to also get something in from there. And what it means is that, like I told you, that this is wizard. You can just type simple thing here and search and you get. But when you want to get more complex thing, you need to look for it a bit. Yeah, go ahead. um Saying like he said he's not joining, you can send him an invitation. I sent invitation to all of us except his own. This thing is not working, but I believe everybody is in this loop. Maybe he's not used to Google Meet. You can ask him, but I'm going to send it to him right now on the road. Okay, so it is a database and you can query whatever you want in here, and if those statements are true, you are definitely going to get the feedback from you are going to get the feedback. So okay, tell him that I have sent him an invitation, so that means he have seen it. Maybe he was sick. Yeah. Balak, I hope you're feeling better now.
Yeah, I'm feeling better.
Yeah, leader told us that you are sick.
No, I'm normal.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so let me back to ground. I'm trying to say that you can see this is, like I said, this is a database, and if I want to get a particular features here, you see that I can just go here and go to wizard and say give me all the building that is here. Now you
Yeah,
can see
there.
all the building here has been selected for me. Now how do you use and? If you look at this, you see that the house address is 3 and then the building is equals to residential. Now you are trying to look for two variable and you are trying to say that give me a building that is this or this. Now in that case, what I'm going to say that I want to say give me all the building and highway, for example, that all the highway that is here. And if I run this, what will happen is that every building that within the canvas, and you see now that I said and, so this statement is not true because there is no building that is, there is no a building that will have building and highway. So in and, both statements have to be true. But in or, one of the statements have to be true. So when I say or highway, all the highway that is here, what happens? It is going to look for either building or highway. Both statements have to be true. Any of the statement has to be true. So you can see here that I said give me building and then also give me highway. And you can see that any of the statements are true, and that's why you have this. What if I say give me buildings, for example, which you know it does not exist? What will happen? One of the statements must be true. And which of the statement must be true? The true one is that there is a highway here that is in this canvas. Now, the building did not come out because there is no query that serves as buildings. So, and that is the reason why I did not have building here as query. Now, what again happened with here? This is time, and the time means in seconds. If I say give me these features in seconds, it's going to be timed out. So you see, I'm going to go back a bit and also query again. And you see now that if it is more than 5 seconds, the particular query will not work because it is more than 5 seconds. Is somebody in church? Balaka. It seems like you're in church.
I'm sorry.
Right, it's okay.
I-
Yeah. So you see here now that these are queries and you see that we get the building. Why did we get that? Because this statement are true. Give me all the buildings and also all the road network here. And I said, what did I say? Or. You can get it here. There is or. But when I change this wizard and say that it is not or, but and I say and, now it will evaluate the statement, and when both statements are not true, you won't get it because there is no road that is highway and this that is not possible. But you can say that give me all the statements that building that have names, for example, and then you are going to look all the building that has. If this is true, then it shows. If it is not true, you won't get it. So this is what I just want to talk about, because when you are querying a database, you need to understand all these things. So if you say or, for example, you mean that any of the statements are true. You can also build more. Let's say name, all the these things that have name, for example. And remember, when both statements are satisfied, you will get information on it. So you can see here that building have been highway has been selected, or this has been also selected, or these have also been selected. Now, Balak, why is it that there is no building that is selected? Can you tell me why? Look at the code. Do I need to increase it? Can you tell me the reason why the buildings are not selected? But in my query here, I said buildings. Do you have idea why?
Come again.
I say, do you know why the building are not selected? I query in my query here. I say, give me all the buildings within the boundary box. Give me all the highway within the boundary box, or give me all the names within the boundary box. And you see that what is the straight route here? The names here are being shown. The highway are shown, but the building within this canvas are not shown. Why? Do you have idea why?
Uh, I don't know why, but
Okay.
what I think,
Mm-hmm.
why the reason why the buildings are not selected.
Mm-hmm.
Here you said it is not true. I don't know the reason.
Okay, what about you, Lydia? Tell me, you have idea? Or any other person that have idea why it is not selected? Can you tell me?
Maybe the building is not is in the statement is false. Are
Why?
that true?
Why is it false? Are you not seeing building here?
The list maybe in that region is not digitized yet.
But you are seeing buildings here. Are you not seeing the building on the background? Who else have answer to this? Anybody who have answer to this can unmute and say something.
Okay, sir. To me, I think it is because of that, or you put in between of those of that your query.
Let me see the query. Or okay.
Because you are telling us that if we are using or, we're supposed to have like one condition being true. So I think like that's why we are not getting like building coming up. That's what I think.
Okay, so all of you are thinking very well, and all of you are correct, but not scientifically correct. Yeah, the reason is this. Let me tell us. The reason is that when I was telling us that Lydia is not the same thing as Lydia. Now, this is very, very critical. And when we're talking about variable, and I've been talking about variable, I mentioned key and value, and this is why this thing happened. Now, if you look at the quiz you did, we talk about buildings, and I ask you, how do you query buildings? Now, if in the database it is blind, you're the one who is going to give it I. Now, what you did is that here, there is supposed not to be S on the building. That's the only thing that is wrong here. Because I say select all the building, or select all the highway, or select all the names. And now you get here that you see that all the building, all the highway supposed, but because there is S on it, and that is the reason why there is no query and there is no result on as related to building. This one is true, highway, it is selected. Name is also true, it is selected. But building, because I put S on it, it is not selected. Just like, for example, if I want to call Farida with her phone number and I miss one, I put where I'm supposed to put one in her phone number, I put two. It will not get to her. So I am not calling the right key or the right value that I'm supposed to call, and that is why I am not getting the feedback. So if you see now, if I remove this and run the query again, the building within here will be selected. So that is just the only problem with the query I have here. Now, why is it not selected? Because of the time. So let me run it again. So the timeline is a series, so you can see now the building has been selected, and that is the reason why it is not selected. So This is actually the answer to the question I asked. So it is because of that. And because I missed that alone, the building here, if you look here, you see that it is called building. Look here. If you look at the data query, you see it is called building, not buildings. You get it? So it is called buildings. It is called building, not buildings. So that's what happens here. And that is the reason why you need to need to have this kind of thing you have here. Is that okay? Now, based on this, you also know that if I want to make a query that have to do with and again, and I say give me all the buildings that have name. So you see now that I'm trying to query for buildings that have name. So what it means is that if I want to see all the building that have name tag, you can see here this building have name tag, and that's why you're seeing this. So if I want to find all the building within Rwanda that has name, and I want to see the name, the tag in the building, I can use this type of query, and I should be able to get all the building that have name attached to it. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So why you are mapping, and I keep on emphasizing that you are going to map. So the timeline have expired. I'm going to increase it so that it will search for it a longer time. So why I am talking about you understanding those keys is because, like I said, we are not in analogous state again. There are some of the places you will be working, and all the data you need will be in the database. You just need to go in there, retrieve it, and use to do whatever you need to do. So in that way, you're not seeing the data you're using, you're just trying to retrieve what you need to do. So you see here, for example, these are the building within the canvas or in Rwanda that have names. That name are attached to it. So if you go to each of them, you see that once you click on any of the building, you will see there is a name on it. Classroom, this one, classroom, this one, old classroom block. So any building that have a name is the only building that is selected. This is Faraway Guys School, and that is just it. How do you know that? Because I say give me all the buildings within the canvas area that have a name attached to it. So this is a way you can get it done. So because these statements are true, number one, it is a building. Number two, there is a name of that building, as you can see here, and that is how I was able to go into the OSM database and make a query, and I am able to have a result of the query I made. So is this okay? This is the way you make query. And like I said, one of the key here is this is the canvas, the BB box. If you want to select manually, you can click on this. This is where you are looking at. So if you want to select manually, you can also expand this if you want to select manually, meaning that you are defining the boundary box. So if you query, if you run the query again, what is going to be looking for is what is within this boundary box and not entire place. So this is a way you can define the boundary box. So you can see here that the buildings here are the buildings that have Equity Bank headquarters. It have a name. Then if you go to this one, is also it have a name. Any building here that does not have a name, that is when you're saying and that particular criterion must be met, and if it is not met, then such kind of this thing will not work out. So that is what I want you to understand. So that's just what you need to know. And if you know that, you should be able to query anything that comes to what you need to do at any point in time, and you'll be able to get a result of it. But if you are not able to get that, you won't be able to have access to the most of the data that you want. So this is basically how you query for or and. Is that okay? So do you have any other question, anything you need to ask again? And remember, like I said, when you're querying a large database or you're querying a large data set, you need to get to see, you need to also get to know the key and the value, because that's the only way you can get to work on it. Now on this, I also want to say something again. How do you query the new and old data in the data set, for example? How do you get that? And I'm going to, okay, go ahead.
Can you, according to the last assignment, can you help us to export more than three things like polygon, line, and point at the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I will do that a bit, but I want to explain something before I get that done. Yeah. So now I want to explain something a bit. Like I told us before, if you go to JSON here, and then if I click on Control H, I'm going to have the details of this. You can see that this was created in this is also date, and then I am the one who modified this by adding Ford, and this was on this time, as you can see here, the time, you can see the time here, and this also you can see the version here, and you can see everything. If you go to the coordinate, you should be able to see the coordinate of what I did here, so you can see the longitude and latitude. And what is the distance? The distance is within this, so you can see everything as related to this. So database also have such kind of ability. Now, how do you query in a particular database like OSM database? For you to query, you need to know that you are looking for UMT, that is, you are looking for UTC, that is universal time. And for you to query in a particular date, so you need to use a keyword like NOAA, like this, and you say, you go with the date here, you go with what I am going to do now. In that way, I'm going to say 2025, and then I'm going to say we are in October, right? Then, and then we are also in today is 6th, right? And we need to query the database in this particular pattern. Now, at what time we need to say 000000, then, and that 00 have to be in UTM, and then we put it like this, and that's to have to be, let's say, in Rwanda. Now, what I mean is, what I'm trying to say is that, assuming I ask you to do something for me, and I say, go and map the building, and then after mapping the building, I say, okay, how many buildings did you map from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock? You say that I mapped 5,000 buildings. I don't need to ask you that multiple question, because I can query the database and see what has been changed within this area in Rwanda. Now, looking at this, as you can see now, I have been able to query changes that was made on this particular, in the entire Rwanda, within these dates till now. So it means that every work that have been done in Rwanda are within these places, either by you or by somebody else, or which have been added by somebody. So if you click on this particular one, you can see that this building has been mapped by somebody, which is Ame, 3 days ago, based on this. So you can see this is part of things that has been changed over a period of time. How? Because I was able to query using this particular date. So this is where changes has been done from first of if you look here, it says 01. So let's go to 06, which is today. From UTC 06, how many things has been changed in Rwanda? So you can see each of the query that has been changed in Rwanda. So it's saying that it can't handle that because of probably the OSM database is busy. But what I'm trying to say is that if you look at what I did, it means that I was able to query the database and get every information I want, new information I want at any point in time. So if I want to see the older one, I can also put it. I can also put within time range. So generally from 6th today, this was where contribution has been made here. And you can see here, building level to residential. Who made the building? You can see 1 hour ago. So you can see here who made it. Look at the person that made it 1 hour ago. So why? Because I was able to filter by date. So this is very, very important, because why I'm saying this is important is because when I'm going to show you, I'm going to tell you about survey 1 to 3. This is Ruma Magana district. Who worked on this? Let's see who worked on this. And then I can say this was done by the same person who did the other part. So the person made an adjustment over this. So he made complement network. So the person make an adjustment. So why I'm saying this and I'm talking about this is that very soon we'll be talking about different way of retrieving data. And like I said, I don't want you to be a GIS analyst that just goes there to look at what other people are doing. I want you to be a solution provider. So assuming we are working and you're supposed to know what is happening in real time, you can build a little query and get that done. And if you look here, you see that this is the query. Remember that this particular thing you are seeing here, this is line 1. This is where it starts, line 1. This is line 2, which is a dictionary. This is line 3, which brings the data, and line 4. It is not much. This one is comment, 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 and the rest is comment. The only code that works here is 1, 2, 3 line. Just 1, 2. That is 1, 2, 3 line is what probably is what is working here normally. This one is just to gather the results, which shows you here. This one is to JSON out, which is here, and this one to print, show me the geometry, which if I remove this geometry, it won't show me. So what I'm saying is that little line was able to go to the database and give me every information you see that I have here. So I should be able to know who contribute where, and if you click on it, you should be able to get the information of the person who contribute. Now you see this one, who did it. If I click on it, you can see it was done by me 1 hour ago. So this is exactly how you need to understand about the database. So you can query it by time, you can search it by a particular timestamp. Like I said, your date must be in this particular format, like I showed in the wizard here. You remember this? So your date must be in this particular format. Why is it important? For example, there is somebody who is damaging the data, because there is a way we check who work where and how, and then we used to say we used to use this method to know who is contributing and who is making such kind of mistake. So this is what you just need to know what I'm saying. And in that way, there are other ways you can query. You see the way we make buffer and rest of them, we can query and then be able to make a buffer within this circle or within this circumstance. Then this is what we need to look for. You can look for it at that particular instance. So this is exactly what I want you to know, how you can get this done and at any point in time. So you can search it as a node, as a way, and remember, I am looking at this as a point. If I want to see point that was changed, you remember what I said in the first time, I need to put here as node. And if I search for node, you see that there is no node as related to this. And if I search for this one as way, you remember what I said, the meaning of W, and then you know what is way. So whatever that has happened within here, that is way. And then you also know what, and when I say this particular R here is relation, you also need to know what I mean by it is a relation. So this is exactly what I want you to understand. So when you do this, you should be able to get information that you have here: way, node, and then relation. So this is it for this one, the way you can query something using time interval, and you know who actually add that particular feature or what feature was added. And just like I said, the same time you can query that and should be able to use that to export and build a dynamic map. Like I told you last time, I want you to build a living map. Like when we do WebGIS, you will understand that I will come here and query. And when I query, for example, you see this query I have built now. You see I say from this time 01 till the end newer. So if I want to build a web map that will keep on updating where people change information, I don't want to do. This query is enough. So it means that even till next year, from this particular data I have defined, any day people add something, my map or my dashboard or whatever will keep on updating that particular feature for me and keep on building. Tomorrow, if somebody comes, the more features going to come out, and that's the next thing you are going to do, because you are going to choose something of your choice and then choose how you want it to be. So if you go here, you see I can go in here and go down to export. I can export it as here standalone query. I can export it as u remote file here, and if you see here u remote file query, I can make a copy, and you can see I've made a copy here. So what it means is that if you look at this link here, as you can see it here, this is within here. So if I use this thing to build a map, for example, If I use this thing to build a dynamic map, sorry, I just want to jump in a bit and show you what I'm saying. So I'm just going to create a new map quickly. So then I can add a new layer, and you say provide a URL here, and then you can make a copy and import the layer, choose a particular URL layer and import. Sorry, okay, I need to bring in a new URL such that I can add the URL to it. So I'm going to talk about this because I need to bring in a URL code and then add it to remote map. So in that way, what it means is that as you see this particular URL that I put here, so which I'm going to paste on this, you see that this is going to be showing me every map within this location over from 1st of December. And if somebody keep on adding data, you'll be seeing the data that was added in this place over this period. So what it means is that if you want to see where people make a contribution or keep on working in Africa, so you can still change this way by checking search code area, and then you can change this thing to Africa, for example. And if this match with what is in the database, you will definitely get the right output of what you are looking for. So you can see where people make changes over a period of time. So I think the right name for this thing is not Africa. So I will check. I will try to check to know what's the best name that was used for it. Yeah, so we will check that out. I'll check that out and I will update us on what it is. So if not, if you want to check in any country, like you want to check in Nigeria, so you go with the right name Nigeria. I don't know, but let me also check to see what is there. So you can also check in every country to know what and what that is happening in that country using this query. Yeah, so if you don't have question, I can go ahead to what Lydia asked me. Do you have any question or something you want me to clarify on? All right. So in the aspect of what Lydia asked me, how do I query and export them at the same time? I'm running a query already. So let me see whether it's going to, I'm asking for Nigeria, the time to handle, yeah, there is longer time. So if you have this kind of issue, you need to come and increase the time. Like you can see the way I changed it to 250, and that's actually changed to 250. So that means it's going to stay more of not 25 seconds again, but 250 seconds, and it's going to be looking for that particular thing I said. If the time gets to that and it is able to see good, but if it is not able to finish the query, so it is going to throw such kind of feedback that you are seeing right now. So I'm going to wait for it a bit. So while we're waiting for it, do you have any question before I switch to the answering the question of multiple query? Okay, that's taking time. Nigeria is a big country, and then there are several there are many queries that happen almost every day. So sorry, there are many edits that happen in Nigeria almost every day. So that's definitely going to take us a very long time to finish, because in the database Nigeria is split into almost in 3 regions. Yeah, so not only more than 3 regions, Nigeria. So you can see here Nigeria is into 1, into 2, into 3, into 4, into 5, into 6, into 7. But if you look at Rwanda is just only 1. So Nigeria is split into almost 7 different regions for the database to be able to, for it to be able to execute it perfectly in the database. So it is actually taking time. So I'm going to just refresh. Yeah, so that's how you can get that done. Now, based on what she was asking me, you go ahead and say, for example, I want to go to amenities. So I'm going to say amenities that is equals to hospital, or highway that is equals to residential, or natural that is equal to water. Now, did I write this well? No. Water in Rwanda. Do you see this? Now, if I build a query, this is what you are going to find here. Look here. Lydia, are you still with us?
I'm here. I'm loud.
All right. So if you look here, I zoom a bit so that you can see what I'm doing. Now, if I run this query, this is going to take 25 seconds, which is likely going to fail. I don't know, depending on the speed of my internet. But let's see what happens here. So you see in here that I'm going to wait for it. What did I query? I'm querying for hospitals. I'm also querying for building that is residential. And I'm also querying for waterways that is within Rwanda. So this is going to get to all of them. Remember what I said in or and. So one is that because I'm using or, it's going to look for all of them. But if I'm using and, it must fulfill both. All the statement must be true. And you can see now that this query is true, but it's going to require 90. You can see here, it have the time have timed up, but it's supposed to be required that around 90 distance. So we are going to change this. Now, to make this better for us, hospital, we only need to find hospital that is node. So I'm going to type node. Then for highway that is residential, we are only going to look for highway that is residential, that is relation. And then we are looking for also for search area that is water. Now in this particular scenario, what did I do? I reduce what is going to look for. Instead of it looking for everything in the database, and I said no, only target something that is node, and also target relation, other one that is relation, or also target this one that is this. So this is exactly what I'm trying to do. With that way, you can see now that the data have reduced from 90 to 10 MB. Now, if you look here, you see now what did I end up doing? I ended up querying everything. So you see here that this is relation, as you can see here, highway that is relation, that have relation. Then here you can also see that what I have natural that is water. But I want this not to be relation, but let it be way. Now let me go in again. I need it as way because I need it as road. So this is how you can query. And once you query like this, and the statement is true, and it goes to the database, you should be able to have what you need here. So if you want to change this, remember it is node, way, and relation to leave it on a default. So with that, you should be able to find what you are looking for. So, but for the sake of this, let us leave it in tertiary, or let's leave it in primary, so that I want to query it and bring it out for you and convert it, because the other one is big, 90 MB, might take us time to download since I'm not using it for anything. Now, so you can see now what I'm doing, querying the building, querying the everything I need to query, and once it comes out, it is going to be on a single. So you can see it is 20 MB. Let's continue anyway. So this is what it is. So in here we have 654 nodes, we have 106 ways, 84 relation, display point, you can see it here. And how long does it take it? 19.4 milliseconds to finish. Current data is about 127 milli, so you can see every information about this. Now if you look at it, because I say in Rwanda, and you see here that everything I query is within Rwanda, and if you go close a bit, you can click on it and see that this is a node. It is called something hospital. Click on this. This is also called iClinic hospital. So everything within here has been queried. How do I export? Remember what I said? can put it as KML, you can put it as GPX, so you can also put it as this. When we'll be doing data conversion, I'm going to treat each of these correctly for you because you need every data that's in this part of format. But for this sake, I'm going to download in I'm going to only download in KML, and I'm going to open my ArcGIS Pro. So you see here that I have downloaded the KML here. So I can click on this to open it in my any KML file using Google Earth. So, but I want to open it in ArcGIS. Now, why I'm saying this is that I remember, like I was saying, that I love the way you guys were able to solve the last problem when you have to move it to JSON and was able to solve the problem. It is actually very impressive to see you people moving around that problem and you say, oh, now since we cannot solve it, let's go into this. But the same thing you did, you can also use this way, what I'm doing now, to solve the problem. So you can see here, this is actually the location here, and you can see it here. This is what I just exported. If I press R, it will reset, so I can click here and press R. So you can see now that this is exactly what I exported. You can see the point for health center and each and every one of us where we have waterway. You can see Nyarutarama Gulf Lake. You click on this one, you can see water stream. You click on this one, you can see the road. So everything that I have exported has been added here for me. Now that same thing I have here, I can decide to save it as. So you see here, I can save it as a particular listing, and I can save it as KMZ file. So which is exactly what I can do now. Now, but nevertheless, you see here, I've already opened my ArcGIS here, and I want to just open a new map. So let me just open a new map here, and then I will delete it later, but let me just put check. So now let me just open this particular file. I just want to create to show you how you can bring into ArcGIS normal environment. Now you see here, this is my ArcGIS loading, and then it's trying to open up the new map. And you see here, I've already viewed it in Google Earth. So every point, every building, every lake, waterways, just like we queried here, are all downloaded, are already here for me. So I'm just going to wait for this to finish opening, and once it opens, so we can go ahead and visualize it. Then what we just need to do is to do the conversion, which was what was the problem last time you guys were trying to open. So I'm just going to show you how we are going to get it done. So ideally, QGIS doesn't supposed to stress you. In QGIS, the moment you are here and you click on this data here and you say add data here, if you go to that particular location, that's supposed to actually come defaultly for you. So if you go to download, and let me return back here again, home, downloads, so export. So we need to find it because I don't know where it is right now. So let me look for it. Export So you can see export 1. This is today's date. Yeah, this is export 1. Then if you click on OK like this, then this is going to read like this for you. So let's wait for what is happening. So this is it here. That's why I was saying that those that are using ArcGIS Pro does not supposed to stress themselves on bringing this into the ArcGIS environment. Yes, because if you look here, you see that those information that I've exported is already here already. If you go to here, you can see grouping, view metadata, refresh. So this is the way it is here. Then if you open up this way, the way I open it here, you can see each of them in each individual showing as a place mark. Now, but since you look here, you see that there is no editor or attribute information you can see here, and that is why you need to come to ArcToolbox here. In going to ArcToolbox, so which I think all of us know ArcToolbox. This is ArcToolbox here. This is tools here, and then that's going to open up here for you. And then you can go to the main ArcToolbox here, go to conversion tools here, Then look for KML file here. Then KML file to layer, which is what I'm going to open. Then this is going to open by the right hand side here for me after reading. Then I'm going to look for the KML file. What KML file am I looking for? You can still return back to the download to where you are. So in my case, I'm going to come here, go to download. No, I've missed road. So let me go back a bit. So I'm going to come back to downloads here, and I'm going to look for the export. Remember, we are looking for export. That's the name. I can save it in another folder, but I am looking for it in export. So let's look for export together. This is export one. You can see it here. This is the one we are working on. I can click on OK. Now it's asking me what location. After reading, it's going to ask me what location am I looking for it. So the location output is going to come here. Where do I want to save? So it's still reading. So once it's done reading it, so it is going to prompt for me where do I want to save it. Then I can open here that I want to still save it in download, and I'm going to save it as Lydia. Then is it a folder? So here, then this is the place is going to be my project, and you can see the name goes in that particular part. What name do I want to save it as? I can save it as Lydia. So I'm going to save it as Lydia. The include ground overlay, all these ones are English. So once you are done, you can see here run. You can also schedule when you are going to put or reset the parameters. But for me, in my own case, if you want to copy the command to Python, what you did here, we are going to be talking about this word, because why I'm saying this is we need to understand why each of these things, because if you bring this particular thing I just did now, and then you can paste this thing in Python. So, but that's not, let's not move fast. So what you need to do is to run it. So I'm trying to convert the KML file to shapefile or layer, and that is exactly what is happening. So once it finished converting, so you can see it converting to me to that. And what did it do? It ended up bringing here as Lydia. So if you look here, you see that it have shared it as Lydia here, but it breaks this thing into 3 parameters for me. The first one is into point, into line, and into polygon. So let's see what happens here. So it is bringing it up, but you can see here that it have actually ended up bringing this thing into polygon for me, into line, point, and polygon for me. So grouping 3 of them into this different perspective. It seems like I don't have good output. So let me check what is the problem. Yeah, I did not have good output. I don't know why. What? Yeah. So it's loading, still loading. Yeah, it's still loading. So that is exactly how you can get that done. Then on a second way is what I want to do right now. I'm just trying to show you conversion. So I'm going to open QGIS a bit. All right, go ahead.
Just Pro, I have 3.5. So we have different parameters. Like we have input KML file, output location, and output data name. There is an additional parameter which called end by output suffix.
Output suffix.
That's
yeah.
why. Yeah.
Okay. So your only required you to define what the output suffix is, right?
Can you give me an example?
I said, is your own requiring you to have output suffix? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they requires to identify the output suffix.
Okay, but you know what you mean by output suffix. That means, are you talking about .shapefile or .what? You get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you need to do when you're talking about output suffix. So what it's asking you is which of the output is it. Do you want it in .shapefile or dot something? So that's what you need to define. You get what I'm saying?
Uh, yeah. Is the as we do is KML to layer? Does it enough to be specified by software itself to know that it's shapefile, or already it is not all database? It's also shapefile. Why they requires me to address if the shapefile? Is there any possibility to have another suffix different to the shapefile?
Yeah, because layer, it can come in different part. We have different we have different types of data structure. I'm trying to join a bit to explain what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm trying to join a bit. We have different types of data, like outputs of data. I've seen the reason why. He was not able to join us, because when I sent the link, I did not add the Google. Zoom link to it. So now I am seeing the reason why Balek was not able to join us, because I wanted to join from my second laptop and I see that problem. So that's how I know that it was not his fault. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to share my second screen. So I think, yeah, my second screen is here. So what I'm saying is this laptop I'm sharing is a bit low, so you just need to, I think, let it not slow me down a bit. So what I'm trying to say is, if you look here, this is QGIS, and then if you look at the QGIS now, the same data, let me know whether the data have synchronized. Yes, I have the data here already, and you can see here QGIS. Now in QGIS, I just need to add the data straight away by just going here, and because it is KML file, I can just go to download and I will see this here, and then once I just click on add, this is just going to read. You can see point, line, and polygon like we said, and then it's just going to add all this for me here. Now some software, maybe like you wanted it to have that ability, so these are why I use different software, because I also personally realize that this software have issue here and does not have issue here. So in QGIS, you see now the way I bring it, it didn't ask me any question, it didn't even stress me on what it's there. So the next thing is, if you look at, see that it have even grouped it up for me in different type of data structure. So you see it put it in point, line, and polygon, and you can see everything that have to do with point here now, and you can also see whatever that have to do with line here, and you can also see what have to do with polygon here. So this is point, this is line, and then you can also, this is line, and you can also see this is polygon. Now what I'm telling about data structure is that if you go here to do, let me just do export for example, you see here that we have different types of drawing: Geo package, S3 shapefile, Geo arrow, Geo quest, AutoCAD, S3 database. These are just different types of data structure. So it is important you know this type of data structure, because you might use it anyway. So this is why it is asking you a question, because since you are converting it to layer, what layer are you looking at? So if you know the data format, so you just need to add it to that data format and it goes. But now, one of the reasons why I advise in using many softwares is because if I know that, oh, this is what this one is showing me, and I don't need to stress myself, I can just open my QGIS and convert it and move it here. So it makes things straight and easy for me than moving around trying to put the data in the type of format I want. Assuming this the way it is now, I want to put it in a S3 shapefile. I'll just say, okay, I don't need it in GeoJSON, but let me just move it to a S3 shapefile. So where is S3 shapefile? The second one here. And then I can define the location and export it. So which one am I using? I'm using QGIS. So it is easy for me and faster for me. While when I'm using ArcGIS, I don't need to be moving those around, converting and putting them in the location. It wastes my time. In fact, there are some of the reasons why I like using QGIS. So as you keep on going, you will understand which of them and why do you need to know all the software, because some of the software have advantage here and disadvantage here, and for you to work on them, you need to master all wiring to use them. So that's just what happens. So if you know the data format you want to put it, you go ahead and put it. Like this one, you see the way this one is asking which format, which is the suffix. So if you know the format you want to put it, simply select the format you want to put it, and then you are done. Is that okay?
Not yet. Can I share my screen?
All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. I've paused sharing so you can share your screen.